I'm so excited to continue our chat from the other day about how we are too busy in our lives and how it's really affecting us. So today, I want to talk about making more time for more joy in our lives. If you're like me, you feel the battle in your heart when you look at your calendar. What we spend our time on so often indicates what we value. But so many of us have the same calendar problem. We squeeze appointment after meeting after errand into our schedules, and then we edge out the time for joy. We tell those savorable moments of joy, I just don't have time for you. But I sure do have time for committees and Facebook and folding clothes. I used to find that my days were pretty well organized. Like I could tackle what I needed to do in the time that I had, but then somewhere along the way, I decided that I needed that adrenaline rush of like back-to-back appointments and extra responsibilities because let's face it, I wasn't being a good mom or a good wife or a good friend or really a good businesswoman if I hadn't packed my calendar to maximum capacity, right? So somewhere between laundry and work and someone needing his or her shoes tied, my days were crammed full. From sunrise, sunset, I was full speed ahead, like eating in my car, checking my phone every 3 minutes, trying to play with the kids and multitasking also. Does this sound familiar? Like instead of prioritizing our commitments and carefully choosing what we fill our time with, we so often focus on just making life happen, like on surviving every day. Though we all desperately want to slow down and make time for what matters, we don't really give ourselves permission to reevaluate. Like, just imagine what we're missing out on when we put our heads down and just like barrel through the day. Like this might come as good news to you, but you have a maximum capacity. There's like a concrete limit to how much you can fit in your brain and how much your body can handle. At some point, when there is too much for you really to remember or worry about or think through, you start to forget things. Like tasks start to fall through the cracks and appointments are forgotten and you find yourself in just this middle of a giant mess. This is what happens when we're overwhelmed and overbooked and overcommitted and overstressed. A common reaction to this is to feel guilty or like you're not as sharp as you used to be or like you're failing in some way. But that's not so. It's just a simple cause and effect. You have limits and you have them for a reason. Girl, you do not have to drive yourself like a beast of a burden to go beyond your capacity. So what do you do to stop the insane cycle? Like the only way to lighten an overfull plate is to take some things off, to say no, to uncommit, to look at your calendar. Like what commitments are not absolutely essential to the function of your family? What commitments steal margin from your days instead of bringing the value to them? Do you begrudgingly serve on a committee that you don't enjoy but stick with because it looks good on your resume? Or is your kid overcommitted with extracurricular activities because everyone else is? Like, ladies, don't pass this on to your kids, okay? Teach them now the importance of budgeting their time. Say no. We're all looking for someone to give us permission to slow down and to be perfectly imperfect and uniquely different. So here it is. You have permission, okay? Make margin for what matters. This is your one precious crazy life. White space on your calendar, it's priceless. Like, why work so hard to fill it up? Aren't the in-between moments where we find the most joy? I spent some time working with elderly patients a few years ago, and they were reaching the end of their time life. And I heard them sharing stories like memories and wishes and regrets during their last few days. These stories were sobering and beautiful at the same time. Never did they mention how glad that they were that they worked late every day or how proud they were of all the money they had in their bank account. Not once did they mention how fulfilled they felt with the number of followers they had on social media or the many achievements they had racked up in their lifetime. Instead, they spoke fondly of their lifetime love, family, adventure. They spoke about the raw, real good things in life. Their final moments, these people talked about big family dinners and long-awaited reconciliations with friends. They spoke deeply sincere, heartfelt words of love and life into the hearts of their family members. Sentiments they wish they shared years ago. They spend their final days marveling over the good stuff, like the memories made of not their most accomplishments, but the memories they made. Their lives are one of gratitude and presentness. Like when our time comes short, our priorities are suddenly jolted into place. Like I don't know about you, but this makes some of what I fill my days with seem very trivial and important. Like what if we lived every day with that perspective? What if we were unapologetic about our priorities in a genuine and heartfelt way? What if we poured love into people and spoke truth and encouragement without concern about their response? Did you know that we do not have to wait until the end of life? Like right this moment, we can construct our schedules in a way that allows us to savor the good stuff in between the have-tos of life. We can choose long dinners with people we love. meaningful conversations that stir our souls, baby giggles and hand holding, and just slow walks to beautiful places. What would happen if we intentionally carved out white spaces for these memories instead of allowing ourselves to be busy for busyness sake? Like, this battle has been a difficult one for me, but I'm happy to say there is hope on the other side. For years, I struggled to find ways to make the good stuff like priority, and the extra commitments happen as they may, rather than the other way around. Like, making margin in our lives and our days means clearing room in our schedule to slow down. It also means choosing to be still even when tasks need to be completed. The magic is that when I think about extra commitments as secondary to the good stuff, tasks start to fall away naturally, and people become the most important in my life. The have-tos they're still important. They're just less of a nuisance. Folding the laundry now means I get to rejoice in the little clothes because we got the babies we prayed for so long and so hard. And for me, this enormous heart change was born out of being intentionally still, like choosing the good over the perfect and fiercely guarding the pages of my calendar. Our kitchen counters may not be spotless. Like, the drips of ice cream came from an impromptu late night Sunday party, so I'll happily wipe them. But my shirt may be wrinkled when I walk into preschool that day or this morning, but it's because we had a tickle fest on the couch before we left. And my husband and I may not go on many dates in the last 4 years, but we've enjoyed many conversations on the front porch. We still hold hands, and sometimes we have a baby monitor out there at the same time. And I'm not good at baking beautifully decorated cookies, okay? I've learned that. But I am really good at thinking them up and ordering them from people who are, and hey, that's a talent in and of itself, right? And our floors may be covered like popcorn, and the mess is worth hearing the giggles as we had a popcorn fight last night. We might be scrambling to get out the door every morning because the 2 little bodies that I have to dress and feed. But on some days we worried we would never have even one baby. So I'll savor those scrambles. My hands may be dirty. I may have sat for hours in the yard, tunneling in the dirt, carving roads for jamers and trucks, and pointing out all the bugs and leaves and treasures we discovered. And let me tell you, I don't like the bugs. Life may be messy, but a mess is so worth it. So get this, lady. A planner is not going to change your life, okay? You heard me right. I'm not the only one out there who thinks each time she buys a new planner that, oh yeah, my life is going to be so organized. And I'm going to have so much more time for my family. Much like the woman I know, I have added commitments and appointments to my calendar until it's reached like its limit. I have searched high and low for like that cure-all way to organize the crazy things I have going on. And I've tried all sorts of complicated systems and fancy agendas, and hoping that somewhere in the just in the genius of these fang-dangled products that I'd find a solution. But like, from the many eye rolls my husband gives me when I come home, like, I got a new planner. It's gonna organize our life. It just simply doesn't exist. No system is going to magically make my life easier and make me spend more time with my family or have more time to spend with my family. I need to sort out what mattered and what I needed versus what was just taking up space. And it wasn't until I sat down with a big piece of paper and decided what I was going to say yes to and what I was going to say no to that I was able to just trim this fat from my life. I gave a loud and enthusiastic yes to my family, my team, and my ventures. I said no to being constantly tired to my phone, my email, constantly cleaning my house, and extra obligatory commitments that they just don't serve the people I love. Like, at certain times in my life, our calendars they're slam full. Okay, we're working to the bones to keep food on the table. We're stretched thin with no relief in sight. There's times that's going to happen. And I believe that being intentional with our time during those times is also key to finding joy. So every yes, you can have a chance to say no, okay? We don't always have the luxury of saying that, though. Sometimes we have to work, like working those extra hours to pay the health insurance premium. Perhaps you can choose some small yeses to make that burden somewhat lighter. Like, even the tiniest yes can make a big difference. So saying yes to letting your kids make a mess means saying yes to adventure and creativity. Same with saying yes to one more bedtime story. This might make the burden you're carrying feel a little lighter and glittered with fun and laughter. So saying yes to accepting help from friends means filling your well ever so slightly and allowing your village really to rally around you and help you when you need them. Perhaps the biggest no you could say in the middle of stress is, no, I won't feel guilty that these necessary commitments are part of our lives right now. Extend yourself some grace. Try this. Make a list of everything that is fighting for your time and attention, like clubs, schools, sports, volunteers, organizations, committees, work, everything, okay? Make a list, check it twice, okay? And make sure you give everything that isn't a top priority, just strike it through. Just because you're good at something or just because something is a noble cause doesn't mean it needs to be in your life or needs your attention right now. Take 10 minutes and make a few phone calls, send a few emails, then quit. It's okay to be a quitter when you're choosing what matters. Remember, the battle for your heart is won when you strip your schedules down to the raw essentials, like the things that truly fire you up. It's when we budget our minutes like we budget our dollars, carefully and with consideration. We find happiness when we say yes to the white spaces on our calendar and no to the extra. We find happiness when we choose joy over busyness. Take the time and give yourself permission to enjoy one more minute of snuggling, or one more book before bedtime, or one more puzzle, and just bask in the joy you see in the eyes of your loved ones when you choose them over some meaningless task you won't even be thinking about in 5, 10 years, or even tomorrow. I love you, ladies. I want to see you guys embracing your life to the fullest. So I hope this helped. Let me know if you have some ideas or some things that you do to incorporate the joy in your life, okay? I'll talk to you guys soon. Stay fabulous, and thank you so much for watching. Bye.